Tech Talk with Matthew Dickerson. Matthew Dickerson. Tech Talk. Sit back and relax. It's time to talk technology.
Greetings, shoppers. I'm here with a friendly reminder that your chance to buy the perfect present is running out fast, and you have 5 or less shopping days depending on when you access this podcast. Now, if you've tuned in on Sunday, then you have exactly -1 days left of Christmas shopping. But the good news is, hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. Now, I hope this next 45 minutes or so are going to come in handy all the same. Though maybe perhaps for birthday present ideas as we hurtle headlong towards 2023. Welcome to Tech Talk with Matthew Dickerson for our special Christmas 2022 Gift Ideas edition. I'm James Eddy, and not Matthew Dickerson, but this man is... And a hearty season's greeting to you, Matthew. Have a glass of some warm eggnog on this toasty summer afternoon and fill us full of some of your Yuletide cheer.
I'll wait till after the show for the eggnog, but good idea in general.
Warm eggnog on a hot summer's day. Ooh, bad choice, in the words of Will Ferrell.
Now, I've got a special name for this gift edition, of course. I call it the 5G for Christmas. Nothing to do with mobile phone technology, but all to do with the Great Geek Gadget Gift Guide, the 5Gs for Christmas.
We love the alliteration.
That's right. Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next year because I've got to come up with another G there, and one doesn't stick out to me, but we'll just go for 5G for the moment. We'll wait till 6G for a little while to come along. But before we get started, I just want to talk about e-stuff. So we like our EVs. We've talked about those.
Yeah.
We've probably talked about e-scooters before.
Is there anything you can't make E?
Well, probably not. It's a bit like I and iPhone. You just come up with something groovy, put an I in front of it. But as long as it's electric, then you chuck an E in front of it. And there's a few E's in our list today. But I love my bike riding. I love my mountain bikes, and I race mountain bikes. It's fantastic. And there's a few guys in our club that actually do have e-bikes, e-mountain bikes.
You're not going with an e-bike, are you?
Well, no, not quite, but very close to it.
I can't imagine that because that would take the hard work out of your legs, and you're a man who likes to...
That's right. And
to get the best out of your ride.
It is a bit disheartening when you're racing in a race, and we have handicaps and everything, so it's all quite fair and even. No one really complains about it, but you're going up a hill in a 3-hour race, and there's a guy beside you on an e-bike, and I have actually said to him during a race, so is the battery going to run out before the end? No, it's got 5 hours battery life. Damn, I've got to just try and work harder to get past you. But I love going for rides with my kids, but unfortunately I feel like I'm just not quite riding fast enough when I'm riding with my kids because they don't ride as often as I do, so they don't ride quite as fast. So we went out and said, you know what, maybe I should get soft on behalf of my kids. So we just bought an e-mountain bike for one of my kids.
Oh, right.
And it's fantastic because she now rides at the same pace that I ride at. I can ride at the pace that I want to ride at and go as hard as I like. She's doing it almost a bit too easy, depending on how easy she wants to do it, turning the e-bike up or down. But I've played around with them before and I've ridden them before. I'm not getting as soft as taking as my normal bike. But, gee, what a great way to commute. What a great way to get around.
Yeah.
Because if you wanted to, again, if she cranks it up to the highest level, I'm going flat out, working my little legs off as hard as I can, heart rate up around 160, and she's cruising along beside me just going, so what are we doing this weekend, Dad?
All chatty and like, yeah.
I'll tell you, when we get to the top of this hill. So they are a great thing, and the modern e-bikes, they're getting so much better. My bike is about 10 kilos, so it's quite a nice carbon mountain bike. This bike only weighs 17 kilos, but you've got all that. It's about 70 kilometre range on it, 70 kilometre range, and the motor on it looks quite slim. It sits in the actual bottom crank, so you've got a low centre of gravity, like with an EV. Mm-hmm. The battery's quite good in it. So I'm impressed with them. The technology, it comes on nice and smoothly, slowly tapers out so you don't get a big slowdown when you suddenly hit the speed, because in Australia they're only allowed to boost you up to 25 kilometres an hour. New Zealanders can go to 32, but Aussies can only go to 25.
Good on those, conservative.
That's right. Good on those
careful.
Kiwis. Yeah. But I do like them. I think they're great. And I'm sure at some stage in my life I'll get a bit older, a bit softer, and I'll go, you know what?
Yeah.
It's going to be sitting in the garage. My daughter won't be home, and I'll be going, gee, that looks attractive. I want to go for a ride today, and I'll just have one little go. And I know when I do that, that'll be it. It'll be all over.
That's the end of it. So now does she just get like a bell under the Christmas tree on September 25th? Is that right?
If that, that should be more than enough. Give her something to pump her tyres up with,
maybe.
Maybe
a new drink bottle. That's all. Okay, folks, we've got some rapid-fire tech gadgetry gift ideas to get through today. 20, no less, of the best tech-based Christmas present ideas. I hope that we're not too late for you folks. Some of them easily wrapped, some of them, well, good luck with that. Number 1, the B-Bird N3 Pro camera-equipped ear cleaning tweezers.
Why not?
Of course. That's what you'd open up with. Ear cleaning tweezers.
Now, I will just mention the fact that all of these are available now. What we normally do on Tech Talk is talk about the future.
What's coming up. Yeah.
These are all things that are fairly recent in terms of when they've come out. Some of them might be maybe a year old, but most of them are months old, and you can get them. You can order them. I've made sure that all of these you can actually get online and order right now.
And you can get ear cleaning tweezers,
this is number 1.
Camera-equipped ear cleaning tweezers.
Correct, because as doctors say, the only thing you should put in your ear to clean it out is something smaller than your elbow.
Yes.
So basically, don't put anything in there.
In your ear.
And you still see people buy cotton buds and they stick them in there and swirl them around and they just push the wax down in deeper against
I was
your
actually
eardrum.
going to say it's worth Googling, should I clean my ears?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So
And the answer
usually,
is there, folks, and the answer is definitively no.
correct.
But anyway.
That was before doctors saw camera-equipped ear cleaning tweezers.
Oh, right, okay.
And these are cool. It
These
looks
are
like
endorsed by Dr. Oz.
that's right, or me, whichever. But it looks like when you look at them, it looks like a little pen. It sits in a charger, and it's just got a little pincer grip at the end with a camera in the middle of that, and of course a little LED light. You connect that to your phone via Bluetooth. You shine that in your ear. You're watching your phone, and you can see exactly what's there. So hopefully you can just get in there and just. I'm making the motions now. You can see towards my ear,
Folks, it's awesome. You should see this.
and you can actually just pull out that earwax and take care of it. Now, if you don't want to go and risk your hearing, which is probably a good thing, then I can still see these tweezers used for a whole range of other things. You get something stuck down, I don't know, maybe underneath the seat of your car or down the side between the centre console. You can never find it or see it.
Doesn't have to be ear-based.
Doesn't have to be. They call them ear cleaning tweezers, but I think there's a whole range of other. I think they're underselling themselves, actually. I think they should be called general purpose. Multifunctional. There you go. Multifunctional camera-equipped tweezers. I think they should rename them.
Good idea.
But I do like the fact that we've got so much ability now with a little singular pen-sized device with enough battery power, enough camera power, enough LED power, and then, of course, everything's better with Bluetooth, so you Bluetooth that across to your phone and watch all that. I think it's fantastic. So keep an eye out for those. If you've got someone who's got really waxy ears...
Well, you know what? Once I swatted a bug that was in my ear, and it actually just went in my ear, and I could hear it trying to crawl around, escape, and buzzing about. These tweezers would have been excellent in that
Exactly
instant.
right. So
Once in my life only.
if you're planning on getting a bug in your ear that's going to make noise and send you absolutely crazy, this is what you need.
All right, we're up to number 2, folks. The Power Up 4.0 smartphone-controlled paper aeroplane. It's a remote-controlled paper aeroplane. Now, I've been waiting for this for 40 years, Matt.
I've actually put this in there just for me, but apparently me and you now.
If I don't get one under the Christmas tree this year, well, someone's not going to make it to Christmas lunch.
Well, I love my paper aeroplane flying competitions, whether it's with some school friends that we might catch up with. Still, even now, when we catch up sometimes, someone will get out a few bits of paper and we'll start folding up paper aeroplanes. And I always used to go for the bullet shape, the long, skinny shape that was folded over multiple times to get very little wing area, and relied a lot on the throwing and just basically acting like a dart. Some of the other guys that I do it with get a bit more creative with it and actually go for a bit more wing area.
It's always about the sharpness of the crease for mine.
Well, I thought so too. You had to get it very sharp.
Yeah.
To
if you
give
folded it too much, it got rounded, and it was just like throwing, I don't know, a piece of dowel at someone. But,
which maybe is okay as well. But then you'd get the guys who would have a little bit of a twist on some of the wings to get some extra action out of it. All of that sounds like it'll be absolutely irrelevant when I have my next paper plane flying competition with my friends, because this here is fantastic. Again, it just gives you an idea of how good we're getting at shrinking down stuff. Little tiny battery, little tiny controller, again connects to your phone with Bluetooth, and a couple of little propellers on there with the ability just to change the angle on those propellers to give you a bit of extra flight loft or a bit of extra change in direction. all controlled via your smartphone, of course. So the next time I can see that we pull up with the competition all on, I look at all the jokes that they'll be folding ready to go, and I pull out my pathetic-looking bit of paper airplane, clip this on. It's light enough that really you just need 80-gram paper to actually support it. Clip it on, and away I go, and I just blow them out of the water.
Flying till Tuesday.
That's right.
Fantastic.
Or maybe for 6 minutes anyway, if that gets us through to Tuesday.
Yeah, okay.
But even that was pretty impressive. I thought 6 minutes of flying time out of something that's tiny.
But that's assuming you're launching it from the ground level. Imagine if you were launching it out of a 7th-story window or something like that.
Of course. Why didn't I think of that?
That'll go till Tuesday.
That's right. That's what we were thinking of there. So keep an eye out for the Power Up Force smartphone-controlled paper aeroplane.
All right, folks, try this on for size. Number 3, the Go Cube. Smartphone connected speed cube. I'm getting a feeling of Rubik's Cube type thing here. Is that right?
That's exactly right. So it is a Rubik's Cube, but
it's not Rubik's.
I don't want to say...
It's Go.
It's Go, that's right. But I don't want to say it for everything we're doing. But as Sheldon said in Big Bang Theory, everything goes better with Bluetooth. So why not a Rubik's Cube with Bluetooth? Now, I actually like this idea because a few of my kids and myself, when they come home for Christmas, we sit around, we put out the Rubik's Cubes, and we have some competition, of course. And it's deadly competition. And I'm getting a bit slow in my old age, so the kids are beating me these days.
Arthritic in the wrists and stuff.
Yeah, all those sorts of things. Whereas this here, what I like about it, and of course we argue a bit about the times we're doing, you sit the cube ready to go. It'll tell you a configuration on your phone that you should change it to ready for competition. And then when you pick it up and start moving it, the timer on your phone automatically starts.
Right.
It stops when it knows it's got the completed solution. So none of this whacking it down on the table, hitting the stopwatch. It's not quite done. That last bit wasn't in place.
So you lose 1,000th of a second by dropping it on the table.
That's right. And that can be the difference.
That's the difference.
It does. If you're having a bit of a struggle getting the solution, then it does actually give you some hints as well. It can tell you on screen on your phone.
Good for me.
Yeah, well, it can tell you if you want this cube to go from here to here or this corner piece to get over here, this is what you need to do. So it'll give you some hints as well. But I just love the idea that it's actually indicating to you in the virtual sense on your phone what's happening in the real sense on the cube itself. Now, I haven't tried one of these out. They do talk about it being a speed cube, and speed cubes typically, when I've played with proper speeding cubes, are a bit soft around the edges. They spin a bit easier. They don't get so clunky.
You don't want to be doing yourself an injury on any sharp corners there.
No, don't want to do that. But sometimes the speed cubes come apart a bit too easily. So you're going so fast, they're a bit looser in their joints, so they spin a bit easier, but then they do fall apart a bit easier as well.
Picture you going 1,000 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden this thing's just exploded and it's all over the floor. You're holding the skeleton of this.
And I want to know what it shows on your phone when that happens. If it just shows a question mark next to it, if it shows a cube in lots of pieces. But it's pretty cool. I just think the idea of putting some of these sensors built into the cube, a battery inside it obviously, somewhere to charge it, all these things are completely useless for practical use, but it just shows off the technology we've got available to us.
Awesome. Now, if you're still a smoker, give it up for a start, but if you're still a smoker, live a little closer to the edge with this lighter with a 2023 spin on it. It's the Tesla Coil USB rechargeable lighter.
Now, I'm happy to say that maybe some people who want to go out and have a little campfire might use this as well, because I was thinking the same thing as you. I was thinking, I don't want to promote something that promotes smoking, but you use a lighter for other things as well.
Yeah, you do.
You might want to light some candles around your house for a romantic evening, or just that Christmas time, maybe not in Australia because you don't want candles going throughout the house in summer, but it's just a cool concept. Normally, obviously, you've got all that mucking around with lighter fluid and you're trying to fill that up in some sort of lighter, or you throw it out and buy a new one, which is not great for the environment. But I love this concept.
But this looks a little bit like a taser.
That's exactly what I thought of as well.
Double as one, I'm guessing.
So rather than burn someone with a lighter, you just do a little tiny mini taser with a Tesla coil.
There's Christmas fun.
That's right. We don't recommend this, of course, folks. But you can imagine Nikola Tesla, who obviously had some fantastic inventions, but imagine him coming back today saying, hey, look, there's a little arc there across that on a little tiny thing you hold in your hand that's powered by a rechargeable battery. this is magic. This is much better than I ever created 120 years ago whenever Nikola Tesla
Well, he
lived.
gets the rap for it, though, doesn't he?
Well, he does indeed. And so that's just all it does is a little arc. It doesn't have any flame. So blowing it out, if you're out in windy conditions and trying to light that campfire, which I wouldn't recommend because it might start a bushfire, but if you were in that situation trying to light something up, then this doesn't blow out either. It's just doing a little arc between the two components on the actual lighter itself. And so that little arc is enough to then light up something like a cigarette or a campfire or maybe a gas stove or something like that. So, yeah, it's quite good use of modern technology.
Option. Okay, folks, here's number 5. Now, gluing is so 2022. No one should be doing that anymore. How about in 2023, everyone is going to be welding their household repairs with a Bondic? Matt, hand me my gloves and my welder's mask.
And it is very similar to welding. I mean, welding, as we know, melts two bits of metal that are next to each other and then joins them up once that metal cools down.
But everything's made of plastic these days.
Exactly
You can't
right.
have it too hot.
And things like sunglasses can be pretty expensive. You snap an arm off and you think, and there's just not enough surface area to glue those two components together. So this was actually invented by a dentist. And in his job, he found these incredibly strong UV cured bonding compounds that he used on the job. So he thought, well, could I apply them in some other way? So he came up with this concept of Bondic. So you basically put a couple of the compound on a couple of the components that are broken, and then you do a UV weld. And they estimate it's about 50 times stronger than glue. I reckon that'd be stronger than the rest of the arm on a pair of sunglasses, for example. But
Sign me up.
Yeah, that's right. If you've got something broken nowadays, I think we get to the stage where you don't worry about fixing it; you just throw it out.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
And we're talking about but having repairables now.
Well, that'd be nice, I think, from an environmental perspective. But when you do pay a lot of money for sunnies, for example, you snap one of those arms, you think, oh, gee, I don't know if I want to go and do that. I mean, Harry Potter probably needed this for his Harry Potter series, didn't he, for his glasses? But it does sound pretty cool. Bondic, keep an eye out there for anything that you want to glue or bond together with plastic.
Now, back in the 70s and 80s, all the kids had a Viewmaster that took you for a trip through Disneyland or what have you in 3D. And it was awesome, and I miss it, and I want one for Christmas again. Can I have one in 2022?
I can do better than that for you.
What?
Forget about the Safari Adventures or the Disney characters, all those things.
Or it was like my favourite cartoons and stuff. They'd be in like 3D. It was awesome.
It was. And I never had
Bear
one.
or Flintstones or whatever, and it was just great. And I want to go home to my parents' house right now. I want to find it, and I want to play with it again.
Oh, you were one of the rich kids that had one. I could never afford one. But friends of ours had, or friends of mine had them, and they were so cool. And can I just have a look through there? And it was this wonderful marvel of the world in front of you. But these are one step better.
I've got to share with you though. There was one that was from a '70s TV show called Space 1999.
Ooh.
I want to go back and have a look at it
and see how wrong they were. Then. So this one does all of that, but it's got an extra feature. When you order this for your friend, brother, cousin, or yourself, then you can order your own reel. You upload a bunch of photos and say, well, I don't want to see Disney characters or space in 1999. I want to see baby photos, or I want to see my last holiday.
Yeah, right.
So you create your own reel. And, of course, for the company itself, what you want to do with that is you want to get some ongoing revenue. So I'm sure they have the ability for you to keep ordering reels. So the Viewmaster itself is there, that's fine, but it's all about the consumables nowadays. So I just think that idea of saying to one of the kids, here you go, have a look through this Viewmaster, and they're going, what old technology is this? And they put it on their face and they look through it, and next thing you know, oh, that's when I was a baby dad. Look at that, how cool is that?
If you don't know what we're talking about, you've got to look at it. It does look extremely retro, but the idea that you could make your own discs for it, and check out those old family photos and stuff. That'd be awesome, I think. I'd do that.
I don't know that I'd want to look at the space from 1999 or the Safari Adventures, but looking at our own photos, I think that'd be pretty cool.
All right, number 7 now. Pot plants can be a little bit boring, folks, until you make them levitate. And then every pot plant is a dynamic science experiment. Levitating pot plants, Matt, what's that all about?
Why not? Why not? It's not going to help with my lack of a green thumb. It's not going to do anything there. But just the idea.
So you can just have a levitating pot with no plant.
That's right, that might be a better idea. Or a plastic plant in there. 300 grams in particular, or this particular one can actually support in there. So that's a bit of soil and a nice plant.
Yeah.
But I just think sitting on the desk, sitting in the kitchen when people walk into your house, seeing a pot plant literally levitating there, I just think that looks pretty cool. Now, the other cool part is, I don't know if plants get dizzy, but you could give it a little spin.
Yeah, that's what I'd be doing all day, every day.
And because there's very little friction, a little bit of air resistance there, but very little friction, then that would spin for a long time. And I reckon that'd be the coolest part of it, just give it a little spin there. Of course, the base itself needs some power plugged in, so it obviously creates an electromagnetic field. There would be a magnet, a permanent magnet, in the base of the pot plant itself, or where the plant sits, and so that would be enough to resist that, a bit like when you put two north poles together on two magnets.
That's right, yep.
But they've obviously got it tuned in enough that as long as it sits right there in the middle, if you'd bump it a bit, it'd fall over in a mess and put dirt everywhere. But as long as it stays in the right spot.
I guess it could be like a ring of magnets around the outside just to guide this thing towards the centre.
It probably is, yeah. I haven't actually looked at the base of one of those, but that would make sense.
Pull it apart and have a look.
Yeah, and I'm sure people played around with it for a long time and went, let's just get it. It fell over. So they've got it to the point now where it balances relatively nicely. And again, I just think that's a pretty cool idea about levitating something, taking a good old-fashioned pot plant, which has been around forever, and adding a bit of a science flick to it.
Well, if you're going to levitate your pots, you might as well levitate your lamps as well, Matt. This was an obvious one, for sure. We should have had levitating lamps for ages by now.
We should have, and this goes a step further. So it's a step further than the levitating pot plant. It levitates, it actually lets a light bulb hang. So
it's still a hanging levitation.
It's a hanging one, and you can do just like they do with the magician and put your hand through there and there's no wires here. But because it's using an electromagnetic field, it's not only got a magnet, a permanent magnet in the base of the light, but it's got a coil in there that allows it to generate enough electricity to power the light. So now, not only have you got a light just hanging there, literally connected to nothing, the light is actually on. So you're watching that and you're going, now that is just plain magic. Imagine a magician going back in time 50 years saying, I'm just going to make this thing hover and now I'll make it light up, and people are just going, this person is definitely magic. How could you possibly do that with science? So that's fantastic. And just as an added bonus, the base of this lamp is a wireless phone charger as well. So drop your phone on the base, charge your phone while you look at the lamp. It does everything. It does everything. And of course, you could give it a little spin as well if you wanted to, and the lamp would spin around for a while. So
we're not going to let it not be spun.
Oh, it has to be spun. That's obvious.
All right, folks, coming in at number 9, Bluetooth speakers are so old news, but Bluetooth speakers that look like some sort of droid from Star Wars are cool and new, and if I don't get one, I'll knock over the Christmas tree, and it won't be my fault. It's an awesome little droid-looking Bluetooth speaker. It
is, and that's where we're at now with speakers, aren't we? We've got so many features that we've become accustomed to. What else can you do with Bluetooth speakers? So
you can make them look like stuff.
That's right. And I wanted to have some Bluetooth speakers in here because some people still haven't got them. So I thought in my gift guide, in my 5G for Christmas, I needed some form of Bluetooth speaker, but I was just trying to find something that set themselves apart. And these Mars Pro did set themselves apart. So they're pretty cool. They've got 6 dynamic RGB lights on them. They've got 15 hours of playtime, all this sort of stuff you'd expect out of good speakers. They apparently sound good. I haven't heard them myself, but they do look like they're pretty wicked little creatures. If something crawled up to you in the middle of the night looking like these, you'd either be scared or say, finally, there's proof that aliens exist. Yeah. So they look cool. And if someone's looking for Bluetooth speakers out there for a present, I would say they're all probably going to sound about the same. They're all probably going to have similar features. Look for the cool ones. I argue with my daughters about going for function over form rather than form over function because often they're going the other way. Yeah. In this case, I'd say go for the form over the function because they're all going to have pretty much the same function.
And at number 10, folks, handheld laser engraver and cutters. Folks, for that mandatory Boxing Day trip to the emergency ward, Matt, for ages 6 and up. These are seriously little laser engravers and cutters.
I probably wouldn't recommend young children receiving this as a present. I think there's probably some sort of age on them,
But
they
have
do
someone handy to drive you to the hospital. Yeah?
That's right, very much so. And at least they'd know who it was because you could engrave your name on their arm or something.
Name on your arm.
But they're pretty cool. It is literally a handheld device, and it's got a shroud over it, presumably so that you can protect other things from being hit by
Yeah.
it. But you can literally go up, program something into it, hold the shroud over it, and it will laser etch a name or whatever you might want into a device that's able to be done. But it's also got a little stand that comes with it, so you could actually sit, for example, a can of drink on there, and it's got rollers that it will roll around as it engraves on the actual can. So they've thought of different shaped devices, so glasses, drink holders, all sorts of things. You've got, I don't know, a new e-bike, for example, you want to laser engrave. Maybe it wouldn't be so good, might weaken the carbon somewhere, but that type of thing where you've got something new, maybe a skateboard, you could engrave whatever you want onto all these different things, and it's a laser engraver. So it's not just a little whirring wheel and scratches out a bit of metal. It's going to do the job properly.
Yeah.
Thieves try and scratch that laser engraving off and see how you go.
But yeah, it's a cutter as well, so I assume that you can slice stuff with it.
Yeah, but I think it's
laser
fairly
precision.
I think thin things. I don't think you're going to get your 15 mil of sheet metal and drop it into this one and then cut through it. Hopefully not anyway. It does say it's got powerful laser cutting, but I am hoping that's just for thin things. I'm not convinced that I'd want this unleashed into the home for these thick things.
Spiderwebs only, folks.
That's right. But it's pretty cool too, 600 millimetres per second. So that sounds pretty impressive in terms of the speed that you're going to be able to engrave at. So you got those lineup of things, all those trophies that you're going to give to the soccer team or whatever it might be. You can make things engraved specifically for you or for your customization. And everyone's into things where you want to customize them now. It's not just a matter of getting off the shelf, because it's almost a bit boring getting presents like that. You want something that you know someone's made an effort to get. I sometimes get jigsaw puzzles. I get some pictures made up and then get jigsaw puzzles made up. I don't know if people ever do the jigsaw puzzle, but I just think the concept of, hey, that's a jigsaw puzzle with pictures of us as kids or whatever, I think that's pretty cool.
These days it could be a hand laser cut jigsaw puzzle.
It could indeed.
Now, here's something for the kids who won't sleep at night anyway. Have an illuminating doodle pillowcase, or is that a doodle pillowcase?
I think doodle.
Doodle, sorry.
Yeah.
An illuminating doodle pillowcase, easy for me to say, to keep your kids awake all night.
Well, it's
They
actually...
can draw all over the pillow.
They can, and then it fades out because the pillowcase is printed with luminescent ink. And so then you use a little special pen that's obviously got a nice bright light in there, and you just draw a little picture on there and it will fade away after 10, 15 minutes or so. So you can doodle away and know that it's going to disappear. Too bad if you draw a beautiful bit of artwork that was worth millions of dollars, but it's going to fade away. But I just think that's pretty cool where the kids can lay there in the middle of the night and just do a bit of doodling on there. Maybe can't sleep, wake up, whatever. You might draw yourself to sleep. Again, it's just another one of those things where we've got all this technology out there and we do some wonderful things with it, but then we come up with groovy little ideas like this, bit quirky, bit different, but I just can see artistic kids loving the idea of laying in bed, doodling away on their pillow, and mum can't see what they can draw. So they could even draw rude pictures on there. Not that I'm encouraging that, and mum would never see what was drawn on there.
All right, here's a functional one for you. The instant translator allows you to blurt your English and have it re-blurted into any one of 36 other languages. Does it do deep southern US like the Louisiana swamp talk?
Well, actually, it was funny. I went to a Billy Joel concert the other day and he was very impressed with Australians because he said he loves coming to Australia because he can almost understand the language because it's similar to the language that they speak back home in the US. And I think we're a bit the same sometimes, aren't we? That deep southern drawl, even some of the Irish accents you might get, even though they're all English, sometimes they're a bit hard to understand. So
carefully.
In answer to your question, no, it doesn't do those deep different accents. The base model or the base version at the moment comes with 36 languages. So you've got, I suppose, what I'd call common languages. You've got Spanish, Chinese, Turkish, Italian, French, Japanese, so many of the countries that you might see people in Australia travel to. And we've done some similar things to this before. We've looked at some similar things. What I'm impressed with this one in particular, and the reason I've featured it here, is the reaction time. Some of the devices out there that I've seen, you'll talk into it and then you'll wait, and by that time the person is not understanding really what you're doing, and then it translates it and finally they get it, and then they've got to say something back, and it's a pretty stilted conversation.
Yeah.
This one here will do the translation, complete that translation and then start speaking within 1.5 seconds. And that's not too
So
bad.
it's all pretty much in real time then.
That's exactly right. So it's not far off. I mean, 1.5 seconds can be a bit awkward, but if the person understands what's happening, and that probably happens after you say, this is a translator device, speak into it in your own language, and as soon as they get that, they go, all right, I've got it now. So that 1.5 seconds, I think, is pretty good. And the other big advantage is we've looked at some apps on phones that do something similar, but you've got to have a data connection. And logically, you'd probably be using this when you travel overseas.
Yeah.
And for some people, they don't want to go and put a SIM in that's got a lot of data on there because they can get expensive with an overseas SIM card. So they just use Wi-Fi as they go around, but it means they haven't got it everywhere.
Yeah.
And of course, the time you want this is the time that you haven't got access to Wi-Fi, because you might be saying, how do I get access to Wi-Fi in another language before I can get the translation, and you go in a loop.
That whole Abbott and Costello routine there or something, yeah.
Who's on first? It does sound a bit like that. But this is pretty cool. It's one really that seems to, from all the ones I've just seen, it seems to be about the best in terms of its feature. It's called the Muama Enance, and I'll spell that because I'm not sure how I pronounced it. Muamaenence. So have a look at that one. Pretty good, and it's basically something that I can see as we can get these borders open up and travel again, something that is more and more useful.
For sure. Okay, so if a smartwatch is too big and too wristy for you, try a smart ring to track your day-to-day goings on. Matt, the smart ring.
I am blown away by this. The smart rings have been getting a bit of traction, getting there slowly. They've been a bit clumsy and a bit big, and they've got to fit a battery inside them. But now we're getting to the point, and this one in particular, the Oura ring, O-U-R-A ring, this one in particular tracks your sleep, tracks your heart rate, tracks your oxygen level, tracks your recovery after some exercise. So it's pretty impressive, all of that with a little ring that you just sit on your finger. Obviously, it links up to your phone via Bluetooth, surprise, surprise. But it's still got to have enough battery power to analyse all that, to track all that before it sends that information across, or as it sends its information across to a phone. So I was pretty impressed with that. You actually get several days battery life out of it, depending on how active you are, obviously. But I thought, oh, this is going to be something that you have to charge up 3 times a day. But it's not too big. And again, some of the ones I've seen in the past are so chunky that you'd feel like you're almost like Dr. Spock when you've got your fingers spread apart there.
Yeah.
This one, actually, you could hold your hand quite sensibly. And if you ride a bike or you go out running or you're playing a bit of tennis, you could actually wear that while you're doing all of that, which is what you want to do.
That's very sleek and it probably looks pretty good on you too.
It probably does, that's right. I'm not sure how a partner would feel if you gave them that as an engagement ring, for example. Might be a little bit, what are you saying, that I
Like
need to do some weight here?
Slap in the face or something. Yeah,
That's right. But I think it'll be worthwhile getting for someone as a present. The only tricky part is getting the ring size right. You want to have it so that it doesn't cut off circulation and they lose a finger.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But if it's sloppy and loose, it doesn't actually allow it to track all the things you need to track. There is, when you order it, you actually can get a little plastic sizing module sent out first, get the size exactly right before you then get the ring. So it can be a 2-step process. But even if you said to someone as a present, this is what I'm getting you, now you just need to get your finger right in this particular device here, and then it'll come in. Not quite as exciting as having the actual thing under the Christmas tree.
Sneaky thing to surprise someone with.
Yeah, that's
particularly
right.
if you go up to, say, your wife and say, can you put your finger in this? And she, I'm going to get a gold ring or another diamond or something like that. And you...
Are you saying this wouldn't be as exciting as a diamond ring?
Well, for some people it would be.
This is actually cheaper than most diamond rings I've seen,
Oh,
and practical.
I would hope so.
That's the thing that I get out of diamond rings. Don't get me started. Where's the practicality of that? And I can have that argument with my wife all day long. But it looks good. It looks good. Yeah, but where's the practicality of that? So go for this option if someone is practical in your life. Don't get it if someone's a diamond ring.
Yeah. It's just, everyone needs a robot. And if you don't have one yet, then why not start with a palm-sized robot dog? Why not?
Why not? This is manufactured by a company called Petoi, P-E-T-O-I, and their main goal is to produce simple, innovative pets. Now, I would have thought that meant they were a dog breeding company or a cat breeding company, but no, they want to produce simple, innovative pets that are, well, robots. And why not?
Minus the poop.
Minus the poop, minus the ongoing veterinary bills. Sorry to all the vets out there.
Yeah.
But this is the sort of thing that I think if you've got someone, probably a child in your life, that you can see having some sort of future in robotics, in programming maybe. If you just want to really fuel those sort of ideas they've got at an early age, this is the sort of thing that I think would be great for them. You put it together yourself for a start. It's controlled by your smartphone. You program it. Can even carry a little bit of cargo, about 450 grams. How much does a can of beer weigh? Is it probably about that?
Yeah,
300 grams?
I reckon it'd be about 385 grams or something.
There you go.
Right.
So enough to carry around maybe a little beer. I'm not sure how stable it is, but you can make it do tricks. You can make it roll over. It really is something big enough to fit in the palm of your hand. But again, I just think it'd be giving someone some excitement about, oh, look what I did there, Dad. I got it to flip over and I had to program these lines of code to make it happen.
I reckon this is one of those little knick-knack toys that everyone wants to have a go at on Christmas Day and then on Boxing Day. It keeps everyone occupied all the way through New Year's.
And you're saying that after that?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Folks, go and get one of these and then report in and tell us how long you lasted for.
That's right. But I think if you had someone who had some interest in that, it'd last for a long time.
Absolutely.
Maybe for the rest of the family. By the end of Christmas Day, they might be sick of it. Okay, we've seen it flip over 28 times so far. Can you do another trick with it? Bring the can of beer might be not a bad trick either.
Okay, people, now number 15. The ideal gift for Christmas afternoon and the Boxing Day test is the couch console. It looks a bit like a stable table, but this one's a bit funky.
And I struggled to fit it into a Tech Talk gift guide, but it was too cool.
It was just too cool?
I just imagined someone sitting there using their phone, using their devices, and having their nice drink, coffee, wine, whatever. And, of course, you spill it on your electronic devices. They aren't all waterproof these days. So it's actually a modular device. It sits up like a tray, but it's got some depth to the tray. It's got one place for a cup, one place for some food maybe, and then a larger tray for things like your phone, an iPad, maybe glasses, remote control, whatever it might be on there. But they're all modular, so they'll click in and out. So you can end up with 4 glasses for 4 friends, of course, not for one person with 4 glasses, having there, but it's all self-balancing. So the cup sits there.
So you can even carry it from the kitchen with minimal chance of spilling.
And you can even sit it on the couch. Then when you sit down and the whole thing moves, the self-balancing cup actually balances completely. So sitting back on the couch, playing games, watching TV, whatever you might want to do, I just thought it looked too cool not to include in some sort of vague Tech Talk-ish
No, it'll do me. It passes. Well done. Nice choice. All right, folks. So when your remote-controlled paper plane gets stuck on the roof, it's time to pull out the, wait for it, the Metafly. Get a load of this, folks, the Metafly.
I was waiting for you to go for Ornithopter.
Or the Ornithopter.
So this is for the people who have had every drone that you can possibly have, and they've played with those, and they're sick of going for those drones, and they just want something a bit different.
That looks a bit more like an insect.
And exactly right. In terms of drones, it's not great. Its speed goes up to about 18 kilometres an hour. It's got about 100-metre range from the controller, 8-minute flight time, but it looks like a big bug. It's flapping its wings like a big bug. Now, you can imagine how hard
really
that was.
It's fragile, but I just reckon it probably goes like the clappers. It's probably great.
It is. Now, I worry when someone makes this claim. They say crash proof. They obviously haven't had enough of my friends playing with one of these. Crash resistant I can get.
Yeah, as soon as you read that on the box.
You know you got to challenge it, haven't you?
Yeah.
That is a challenge.
You're going to get your brother. This is your present, and your brother's going to test it out.
That's right. So the Metafly looks cool. I like the fact that someone said, well, flies, birds, they all get around with wings. Surely we can do something like that. So they've designed it, and they've got a thing that flies just like a bird, just like an insect. But, yeah, I wonder about the noise as well. Drones can be noisy and annoying, but can you imagine what this would be like with little mechanical wings flapping away there at some incredible speed? I don't know how fast they go, but it's obviously going to be pretty fast to keep it upright. So it looks cool. Don't know how useful it'll be. Don't know how long it'll last, but it sounds like a cool present.
This next little number would have definitely featured in any Eddie Santa sack back in the day if it had been around back then, but we're living in the future now, folks, so obviously that couldn't have happened. But this has got Eddie Family Christmas written all over it. The ClickBot modular robot kit. This is the sort of thing everyone would have been interested in, and there would have been fights over.
It's a little bit like the pet toy, but it's actually got wheels on this one. So rather than like the pet dog with legs that can walk around, this one's got wheels, same sort of thing.
It looks like you can shape it yourself. It's a little bit like Lego, but not Lego, and it's all sort of, lumpy and modular.
Correct. So modular design, battery powered, control it with an app. Really the whole idea of getting this is if someone's interested in some sort of programming and you look at this one and you think, well, ClickBot, and that's without the K, so CLICBOT. It is called an educational robot kit, but I wouldn't let the kids see the educational part. Just you want it to be a toy. As soon as it's the educational, they might go, right, I want to play with that. I might learn something out of that. Use the Python coding language to actually program it. So again, kids that are interested in programming, what a great way for them to get excited about things, annoy the rest of the family as this thing comes around and does things. It's got little pincers you can use. It's got
it won't
wheels.
just drive around. It's going to drive around and pick stuff up, which is the best sort of driving around.
Can it pick up a can of beer? I think that's an important thing. There seems to be a theme here around Christmas to impress some of the rest of the family. Just taking a can of beer to them, I think, is probably one of those ways you can impress people.
With enough blue tack, it'll pick up a beer can.
That's good. And again, keeping those people excited and interested for what's going to happen later on in life. Having skills in robotics, having skills in programming, I think is going to be a huge future for people. So this is one of those things that guarantees some sort of future for your children.
Absolutely. All right, we're nearly at the end, folks, but number 18. Everyone has a headlamp these days. But how many people have a multifunctional headlamp with a motion sensor? Answer, not enough people. Get one of these, folks.
It actually looks really cool. I've got headlamps for different things that I do, but they've all got a big chunky light out the front. And sometimes it's in the road. If I go bike riding at night time, for example, it might get a bit stuck under my helmet and it's all a bit clumsy. But this has just got a strip, an LED strip across the front. And I thought that was a fantastic way of actually getting a great light spread out in front of you and also making it very compact. The motion sensors, I love that idea because sometimes you come back, you take the headband off and you forget it's on. And, of course, you come back the next day, you go to turn it on and it's flat, exactly right. So the motion sensor detects that nothing's happening. There's no movement. There's nothing happening at all. So it says, well, that's probably enough. I can turn off now because obviously no one's doing anything. Obviously, if you can stay really still for long enough, you might be able to get it to turn off, but you're probably going to be challenged to do that. 350 lumen, so not too bad. They talk about a powerful side beam as well that can light up to 100 metres away. Wow, that sounds fantastic. Imagine going out spotting things in the middle of the night, spotting birds up in trees, a whole range of things.
Or for a game of murder in the dark, someone's going to lose an eye.
That's right. So it's got that general lighting as well as a spotlight on the side of it. This is basically a showing off of what we can do with modern technology now, all built into a headband. You may not find it that useful. I think it sounds fantastic if you need that sort of thing.
A lot of fun. Now, being a not-so-closeted nerd, I was often very pleased to receive a fresh, hardbound notebook and pen for Christmas, and come to think of it, I reckon I'd be pretty happy with that this year if anyone's looking to buy for me. But the extra tech spin, folks, try a Rocket Core notebook. Matt, I'm starting to hyperventilate. Can you please take over?
Now, when you say notebook, you're not talking about a computer notebook, are you? You're
talking
about
I was
things
talking
with little
about
rings down the
lots
side.
of pages, had a hardbound cover and all that sort of stuff, and it was fresh and it had all that new paper, and I get all excited and just start writing stuff in it.
Now, you might think less of me when I tell you this story, but maybe you'll think more of me after you've told me that story.
Maybe I will.
We did a competition at one stage where one of the businesses I was associated with, we said, let's do a little gimmicky giveaway, and we came up with the idea of advertising or giving away a notebook. Now, you can imagine...
with pages and...
Well, we didn't specify, did we? So you can imagine that people would be pretty excited.
People lining up at the door thinking they were going to get a laptop. I would have been there for the piece of paper and the pen.
Well, you might have been, so maybe it was more impressive for you, but we did the prize draw and said, congratulations, sir, you've won a notebook. And we pulled out a $2 notebook and said, there you go. there was eventual laughter, but I'm not sure that
Yeah, right.
everyone was that impressed to
They were
begin
looking
with.
at you going, as if a real note. Where's the real notebook?
Yeah, that's right. And that was it. There was no real
I
notebook.
love it.
But the Rocket Core notebook might have been a bit more impressive for them. So for people like you that do love the good old-fashioned pen and paper, one of the issues, of course, is you do all your writing in that and you write some wonderful things, incredibly important things you've written in there, and then something happens, you lose it, gets wet, or it just gets destroyed in some various way. What you need is something like this, that as you write those notes, this is being uploaded to the cloud for you automatically. So those images, those pictures are there. You can see them in that very visual form, but they're also stored electronically. Now, you can also change so that when they upload to the cloud, they actually do an automatic conversion from writing to text, so that when you actually look at it in your cloud save version, it's actually turned it into a normal word processing type document that you can then start to edit. So if you love writing a novel, handwriting a novel, but wow, what publisher is going to take that manuscript off your hands? None. They want it typed up. You could write all this and then it would turn into the typed word as such.
Yeah, and when you're like on Christmas Day and you're writing down why you hate your sibling for flying your Ornithopter into the wall to test out whether or not it was crash proof.
Well,
that's all kept forever and ever and ever.
And that might be where you need the pictures as well. So you can draw pictures of what you might do to your sibling after they've crashed your Ornithopter.
Gotcha.
So I just love the idea that you could just still draw in a way that might be you might be a very visual person. You might like diagrams, illustrations, all that sort of thing. Do all that. That's fine. And that'll all be uploaded in that graphic format.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is quite cool. Then to clean it up, you just put a drop of water on, wipe it off like you would a normal whiteboard that you can just wipe things off. Make sure you use the right pen when you're doing it in the first place, and that'll all disappear and you can go ahead and use it again and again and again, which is a bit of a problem. Because if you like getting a nice, shiny new notebook as a present, then you wouldn't need a new one because you keep reusing the same one. You'd always destroy it if you know.
You've created a real dilemma for me. And last but not least, folks, it's number 20. You've seen by now the endless stream of new gym gear that easily folds and stores away under your bed. They claim to be so versatile and lightweight and user-friendly, but are frequently not. Now, I'm a gym gear skeptic, but this portable gym gear looks like you could actually take it in your carry-on luggage, Matt, when you go on a flight.
It is small enough to do that. But do you remember, I can't remember the name of them, do you remember those ones that you used to see advertised in Fandom comics that were green and had a long bar and two ends on it and you just have to push it together? I don't know.
It's like a chest expander but in reverse, yeah?
Yeah, it was like that.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was called for the life of me.
You didn't send away for that and actually get one sent.
I saw them and I thought, that can't do much. It could basically build up some pecs maybe. And I thought of that when I saw this, but then I started reading about this a bit more. And it sounds like literally a complete gym in one little device. It looks like the bow from a bow and arrow. So it's got a curved look to it.
Right.
And then you've got devices and cables and resistance and all sorts of things built in. You can change the shape of it, change it into an L shape, start working your biceps, do your quads. Basically, every muscle group in your body could be taken care of with this. Now, again, you might think, well, where's the tech in this? Well, the tech in this really is after we've used all these other devices sitting around on the couch, we go and do some exercise, surely. So this is the sort of thing you want to do some exercise. But there's actually an incredible amount of technology. They call it the OYO, OYO, personal gym. And essentially, it comes with, as I said, everything you could take away with you in a suitcase, go traveling, and you know that you can still do the same workout wherever you go. 60 different workout videos they've got as part of it using this device in so many different ways. So I just thought the cleverness in that.
Extremely versatile.
And that's it, the versatility built into that I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, that one might struggle to hit the tech list if you think all tech's got to be electronic. But if you go back to caveman, tech was a hammer that someone used to start crushing up some rocks. So tech can apply in different ways.
And though he doesn't endorse it, I'm sure Chuck Norris wouldn't hate it.
Exactly right.
And that rounds off our 2022 Christmas list, folks. If you can't find something in that list for every single person on your list, then quite clearly you cannot be helped. You're on your own, and stop being so difficult. Matthew, I want to thank you very much for a really fun and enlightening year at Tech Talk. Well done on putting together another great show, and week after week after week, it's It's a really top effort.
Oh, thank you. And Merry Christmas to, of course, all our listeners. Thank you for the support we've had. We keep building those numbers up, which is fantastic and very exciting. And, of course, when we get feedback from people, I get pretty excited about that because it means people are listening out there. Yeah. Sure, we get download stats and all the rest of it, but when you actually get some real feedback from someone, it's pretty exciting. So it's been another great year. Season 2 just about to come to its conclusion, and Season 3 will build up again. But one of the things that's fascinating, and we often talk about this off air, one of the things that's fascinating, there are so many stories out there, so many new tech devices. We normally do 9 each week, but we could do 9 each day. There are so many things that are happening out there in the tech world. It is fascinating, but it's exciting to be a part of it. And if, I suppose from my perspective, if we feel like we can actually help communicate that out to the rest of the world and help educate people in what's happening and what's coming, I think we've done one little bit in that whole piece of moving the world forward.
Yeah, charging headlong into a brave new world. And folks, that just rounds it up. Thank you very much. I'm James Eddy. I've been your host today, and we love it that you will constantly tune in to Tech Talk, and we look forward to having you again in 2023. Tune in again. We'll see you then. Thanks very much, folks.